Today, we look again at gold and silver. So both metals have been on fire in recent years, but with a fair bit of volatility in the last few weeks. So I thought it was time to revisit them, given just how many of you have been in touch with me about this topic. So if you've followed me for a while, you may already know that more than 10 years ago, I wrote the following in the first edition of my first book, How to Own the World. I think gold and silver will surprise the bears in the not-too-distant future and will remind us all why they should be a key pillar of any set-and-forget investment strategy. And then 5 years ago, in the first edition of my second book, Live on Less, Invest the Rest, I then wrote, although I would argue that it's fantastic that gold has averaged around 10% a year for us Brits, going back nearly 20 years now, what I really expect from gold, and even more from silver, is that there's going to come a time when they explode, just as they did in the late 1970s. Gold went up 24-fold from 1971 to 1980. And this is why you're buying exposure to precious metals, as an insurance policy of sorts. I think it's entirely feasible that gold might hit $3,000 or even $5,000 an ounce, and silver could get to $100 or even more. So on which basis, and without wanting to be too smuggus maximus, as I've said a fair bit recently, I've obviously been pretty happy with how things have developed in the time since then, and particularly in 2025. And even with the recent pullback, as have many people who followed me for a while. And even though they are both back from the highs of a few weeks ago, gold and silver have still both been excellent investments for many years, particularly if you go about investing in them in the right way. So given my position on the precious metals market, I've been getting a lot of questions in recent weeks about what to do now, as I say. And so I wanted to share some thoughts on that again today. So first, as I've written about a fair bit over the years and even made a video about on our YouTube channel, I have to be very careful about being seen to give any kind of personal investment advice. And it's important to go back to this topic again. So the reason for that is that the right answer on pretty much any aspect of investment for anyone, such as there even is one, will always be a function of your very own personal circumstances. So your age, your income, existing wealth, attitude to risk, intended holding period, number of dependents, total debt, and on and on. There is no one-size-fits-all right answer to what people should or shouldn't do about any investment, including gold and silver, because it will all absolutely depend on your own personal circumstances. And this is one of the many reasons that you should be very careful about anyone telling you to invest in anything online. I get particularly annoyed when I see people posting on social media along the lines of, this is what to do with £10,000 or similar. Or when people tell someone else, you should buy us at X, Y, or Z, whether that's Bitcoin, gold, or a share of some kind. If they don't know a huge amount about you, they really shouldn't be making any kind of recommendation to you. But this all having been said, when it comes to the question of what to do about gold and or silver, today I wanted to explain again that my entire approach to investment seeks to remove as many thoughts about market timing as possible. The idea, big picture, is simply to allocate whatever you can afford to save and invest regularly every month for at least 20 and ideally up to 40 years, so from 25 to 65 perhaps. And you do that to roughly the right mix of assets based on your age and stage and levels of income, and do that pretty much regardless of what's going on in the news or what is happening to any of the investments that you choose. This is what investing is all about, and not trading, of course, as I've explained a fair bit in the past. You do this until you have enough money to live on your capital, not your labor, something I've been explaining about throughout this video series. So if you do this, the general plan, big picture, is not to sell anything at all, whilst you're earning enough and you don't need any of that money. And you don't sell anything at all until you get to the point in your life, which is generally called retirement, where you enter what is called the decumulation phase of your investing journey, where you live on your capital, not on what you earn. So as Warren Buffett likes to say about investing, our favorite holding period is forever. So decumulation is when you use the assets you've built up after you stop working until your death, as morbid as that sounds, to fund however many grand a month you need to live on, and you're hopefully able to do this for many years. If you do the investing piece really well, you might even be able to raise that few grand a month from the income on your assets rather than from having to sell any of your assets, i.e. from coupons on your fixed income investments, from interest rates, and or the dividends from your equity funds or stocks. And this would mean that you'll be able to keep the same amount of capital every year forever, live on the income, and then hopefully be able to hand down a big chunk of capital to any dependents you might have. This is the holy grail, living on your income. But realistically, in the real world, lots of people are going to need to sell some of their assets as they get to that point in their life, as they won't be able to fund their entire life on income alone. Or they might just want to use some of that money to do stuff they love, like perhaps buying a sailing boat or having a very expensive holiday or three that they've always dreamed of doing. So this is the main point at which I personally would look to sell any of the precious metals exposure I've built up over those years, i.e. as part of what I use to fund myself in retirement, and only when I need the money to do that. My own belief, and I could be wrong of course, is that many years from now, gold and silver are both likely to be priced much higher than they are today in terms of most of the fiat currencies in the world, because governments will continue to debase the money supply, just as they have done for most of recorded history, with relatively few exceptions. And I've covered all of these ideas in real detail in my books and in my video series on gold too. There will be volatility along the way, of course, as we've just seen in recent weeks. But you'll actually benefit from that if you're buying regularly, as you'll be able to get in at lower prices. But I believe that the overall trend, the long-run trend, is likely to be up in the years ahead. So I'm 50 years old at the moment, and I'm pretty confident that even though some of my gold and silver and related investments are up a long way by now, some of them are up hundreds of percent, they will be up even more by the time I'm, say, 65, and quite possibly a lot more, which is therefore the first sort of time in my life that I might think about selling some to fund me and mine in retirement. So on that basis, I don't want to sell any, no matter what the price may or may not be doing. Even if both silver and gold might halve from here along the way in the next 15 years or so, I believe there's a good chance that they'll power back up to a higher level by the time I'm 65 and thinking about retiring. Any short-term volatility like we've just had is just an opportunity to help continue to get in at a solid average entry price over time. So I'm unlikely to ever sell any gold or silver based on any thoughts about market's timing. So because the price has gone up a lot recently, because the likelihood is that I will get this wrong, which is true of most people. I will continue to hold and invest regularly where possible until I need the money, as long as I'm happy that I've got my mix of other investments roughly right. So that having been said, even if you might not decide to sell any to, if you like, take profits or seek to market time in any kind of way based on the price supposedly being high, there are two other reasons that you might want to sell some. First, because you need the money for something. If you have a big expense coming soon, like a wedding or perhaps for a house deposit, for example, then you might take profits from your best performing investments. So if you need and want to do that. So if you've done very well out of gold and silver in recent years, then this could be a good place to raise the money for such things. And secondly, you might want to sell some simply because you might want to rebalance your holdings overall. If you've been in precious metals for a while and they're now a big percentage of your net worth as a result, it could be a good idea to sell some to reinvest in some of the other assets which make up your own personal optimal mix of investments. And this might include shares, for example. Rebalancing is generally a good idea and is another idea that I've covered in some detail in my books and elsewhere on this channel. So for my own part, I'm enough of a gold and silver bull that I'd probably let them run even if they've grown above my target allocation. And more generally, I think the current situation in the precious metals market is very interesting because the price is being driven nowadays by physical demand and not by the futures market, as was the case in the last two precious metals bull markets. This is very different and quite possibly much more durable and powerful than in the past. So physical silver in Shanghai has recently been trading at a chunky premium to the Western financialized futures markets, for example, which tells you quite a lot. Silver, and gold too to a certain extent, is critical to many of the new technologies on the rise globally. So GPUs, space tech, solar, batteries, smartphones, and lots else besides. The world's industrial base has never needed as much silver and gold as it does now, and I see no reason for this to stop. Increasingly, these are strategic as well as monetary metals. And you can see this when you see headlines from earlier in the year about how China has moved to restrict silver exports. Their central bank has also been buying gold publicly for 15 consecutive months. And this follows massive purchases they've made publicly and more quietly through less public channels for many years. The other point to make is that the ratio of US debt to GDP today is way higher than it was in the past, and this is the case in many other countries. So the money debasement angle is massive here, and I see no reason that this stops in the medium to long run. This is arguably why so many central banks are buying gold. They're reallocating out of the US dollar as a reserve investment into gold. And this is a huge structural theme, which I think has decades worth of legs. Silver and gold would both also be much higher if they were to reach their truly inflation-adjusted former peaks too, for what it's worth. So my view is that precious metals in some shape or form should continue to form a key part of your investment approach, and you should ignore the news along the way if you're using them properly for a certain percentage of your investments over many years. So please do check out my 5-video series about gold and silver if you've not seen it already, which contains a great deal more detail about all of these arguments. And the final thing I'd say today before I sign off is that if you're interested in finding out quite a lot more and getting some top quality insight into this topic, there are 2 particularly good books that I'd recommend. The first one is Dominic Frisby's excellent and relatively new book published just before Christmas called The Secret History of Gold, which really is fascinating. And the other one is called The New Case for Gold by Jim Rickards. This one is a few years old by now, although how right he was, but it's very interesting, particularly his work on the extent to which certain players in the West have been acting to suppress the price of precious metals. So that's it for today. I hope you found this helpful on this crucial and timely topic. As ever, if you want to ensure that you're one of the first to see our next videos when they're published, please do click the subscribe and bell buttons. Do, as always, add any comments or shout with any questions and even suggestions for future topics. Please consider subscribing to our free email service on the Plain English Finance website. And as I always say, if you'd like to hear from me more regularly than just a couple of videos a month, please do connect with me on any or all of LinkedIn, Facebook, and X. And if you think anyone you know might find this video helpful and or interesting, please do consider sharing these videos with people who you think might care. We live or die by word of mouth as we go to build this channel. So until next time, I wish you and yours the very best.